All right, so what's the difference between a provisional and a non-provisional? Hey everybody, I'm JD Hoovener, owner, founder, and patent attorney here at Bold Patents Law Firm. We're going to break this down in this long form video today and get into the nuts and bolts of what is the difference, why would you do one or the other, depending on your situation. So take a look at the timeline below, fast forward if you need to, go to different sections. I'm trying to break it up into 3 easy chunks. First one is definitions, really quick, but important legal jargon. Second is timing considerations. And then third, we can touch on cost a little bit too. But I made a whole nother video about cost and I'll point to that as well. So the difference, the technical jargon, a provisional patent application. No such thing as a provisional patent. A provisional patent application is basically a placeholder is really the best word for it. It's all about locking in the date, that priority date it's called, so that you can file other applications in the future and make reference back to it. You want to make sure that you get something filed as soon as you can reasonably do so that you can reserve that spot. Because in the US now, finally, about 10 years ago, we finally caught up with the rest of the world that whoever files the invention first is the one that gets the rights, not necessarily whoever invents it first. The US and of course the whole world now wants you to be incentivized to come up and file, step up and say, okay, I'm going to share my invention with the world if I get a limited monopoly, an ability to exclude anyone else from making, using, selling, or importing that invention in the US. Now, provisional will never result in patent rights. I'm going to say that again. A provisional patent application will never grant you rights. You must follow it up with a non-provisional utility patent application. Okay. Or an international application in some other country. So the provisional acts as a placeholder. Okay. The second type of patent application you can file is a design patent application. Now, design patent applications cover the way something looks, merely the three-dimensional architecture, the frame, the visual aesthetics of the invention. And if that's what you think is novel, and there's not really anything functional you're going after, you think there's enough rights for, design patents might be right for you. There is no such thing as a provisional design patent application. A design patent application must be written mostly with drawings, very professionally, and following all the rigor of each different line, dotted line, shaded, hashed, all the figures, the curvatures must be just right. That's filed just like a non-provisional. The provisional is for a utility patent application. So those are some of the main core differences. I'll reiterate them again. So on the utility side, if what you've invented is functional and you think what it does is unique and non-obvious and different than anything else out there, you should go for a utility patent application. Utility patent applications can be filed straight away as a non-provisional formal application ready to go, but usually it doesn't make sense to do that. We're going to talk about that in section 2 regarding timing. So on the utility side, it can go provisional, then non-provisional. On the design patent side, it's just a design patent application here in the US. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's get into section 2, which is about timing. Super important. So before we even talk about filing, when to file is important too. If you have, as an inventor, owner, published or shared your invention with the world, maybe you put it up online, took it to a trade show, presented it to a public audience, showed off the meat and bone, the heart of your invention. If it's been more than a year, unfortunately, we will not recommend filing because it will be invalid. You only have a year. In the US, there is a grace period from when you published or sold your invention, even offered it for sale. If it's been more than a year, it's not going to be eligible. It'll be invalid. But if it's within that year timing, you want to make sure you get that filing done within that 1 year of disclosure. So please work with your patent attorney, see if there was an early disclosure and whether you're still within that 1 year grace period window to file. That could have serious consequences in terms of your decision-making for making a filing. Now, once you do file, once you file a provisional, it's another 1 year period to the date from when you must file the non-provisional patent application. And again, if we're talking provisional and non-provisional, from section 1, you learned that it is a utility patent application, a functional invention that does a provisional to non-provisional. For design patents, it's just once and done. You have a formal drawings, get them submitted, and then it goes to the examiner. For utilities, it can be the two-step provisional, then non-provisional. Again, that 1 year window is very, very critical. Now, you don't want to wait until the day before the 1 year period is up to file your provisional. Typically, we recommend starting 3, sometimes 4 months before that date to make sure we roll up all the changes you've done in that year, get it all combined, and make the best possible claim set, which is the written claims that you'll have in the utility application ready for examination. All right, so we've talked a lot about timing here in this section too. There is some other aspects to talk about. During this period of pendency for utility patent applications, there are some important considerations to make, things you must think about timeline-wise. If you did file a provisional, you do have up to 1 year to decide whether you're going to pursue international protection. And one of the best ways to do that, if you're going to go after multiple countries, or maybe your plans are to license or sell your invention outside the US, the Patent Cooperation Treaty, the PCT for short, can be a great option for you to reserve, again, kind of like the provisional, reserve the ability to then file into several member countries later. Now, that is complicated. I do want to share with you later in a separate video the international filing process and some of the things to think about. But timing-wise, I wanted to make sure I mentioned not just the non-provisional within a year, but also thinking about filing international, because you must make that filing within 1 year to make a priority back to your provisions. All right, section 3 is about cost. I'll touch on this briefly. Like I said, I've got a separate video on cost, but in general, a provisional patent application, a simple, mechanical, relatively straightforward patent application, $5,000, okay? Non-provisional, figure 10,000-ish. Now, if it's more complicated, 5 to 7, 7 or 8, maybe even, 20,000 for a non-provisional file. It's going to depend on the complexity of your case. If it's more about the software, AI integration, lots of different moving parts, and you've got some devices, complicated like electronics, sensors, the non-provisional could approach that $15,000 to $20,000. So be prepared for those costs to make sure you get that application written, the drawings, the flow charts, all done professionally. On the design patent side, figure between 5 and 10,000. So kind of cut the price in half. It's just not as much work in terms of writing because it's all about the drawings. And it can be simplified, not necessarily easy. So you work with your patent attorney to make sure you have the best drawings possible to represent and get the broadest rights you can. Now, the costs do continue. After you make that filing, the patent examiner will almost always push back with some rejection. And so there are some costs, figure between 2, 3, sometimes 4,000 per office action, and figure at least 2, sometimes 3 office actions. So again, I like to say $20,000 to $30,000 to get a really solid patent granted is what you're looking at. It could be cheaper, but those are sort of the expectations we like to set with our clients. Now, the costs do go up again if you want to file subsequent bigger international filings, or if you want to continue with divisionals, continuation applications, and build your portfolio to have several patents to be even more enforceable and build that fence around your invention and your technology, really, which can be the foundation of your business. All right, we've covered 1, 2, and 3 sections. Lots about the difference between provisional and non-provisional. Hope this was helpful for you. If you have any more questions, please get hold of us and book a free discovery call on our website at boldpatents.com. I'm JD Hoovener, wishing you guys a great day. Go big, go bold.